Hello, Galilee. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Awesome. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Galilee, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Galilee, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, Galilee, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. Say some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Galilee, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Galilee, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, hmm, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Galilee. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Galilee that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are amazing. And just before I sent you that request, I spoke to myself and I said, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Galilee's doing. And not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we had a day with the amazing Galilee. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elijah could do about it. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. And yeah, I love your story. That's amazing.
Thank you too. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Galilee, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. Excuse me. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Galilee, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Galilee on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Galilee, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Galilee, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Galilee got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Galilee, over to you.
Okay, just right. I'll be as brief as I can because it was a pretty wild 2 years that got to me to this point, actually. So I'm Gal. I'm Gal. That's what people refer to me usually, and I am a mother of two toddlers. Married to my best friend in the whole world, and he's the absolute love of my life. And so everything was actually all peachy, all great and stuff. I was born and raised as a fundamentalist Latter day Saint, famously known as the FLDS. And and I had a great childhood. there was different things that happened in the community and things like that that were pretty intense and things like that. But I was happy and great and stuff. And then when I married my husband, we had our kids, and everything was just great and peachy. And then one day, in September of 2022, then the FBI showed up at our door and broke in, and they took all of our pictures, our journals, our computers, everything we had. And that was pretty traumatic. And um, they arrested my brother-in-law at that time. They came back later and arrested more people. They arrested some of my cousins. They arrested my sister. It
Mm.
was a whole lot of things that happened. There were 9 girls that were teenagers that were taken into state custody, and they put them under constant surveillance. They took their phones from them, and it was pretty bad for them, so they ran away. And then my sister went to go get them, and so she got arrested for kidnapping because she went to help them because they called and asked her for help. Anyway, it was pretty dark by then. They came back, they arrested my husband and another one of my brothers-in-law. Pretty, all in all, it ended up we had 11 family members in prison. They make us pay for the phone calls. They make us pay, and we had to take care of the commissary. I was upside down financially after they took my husband. We had 2 cars repoed. It was pretty dark, and I didn't know what to do. And I found this book called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel. And I started reading through that book. And it has some amazing things in it, like profound. And I started to realize, because this whole nightmare was instigated by 2 people. I can't say what their motive was totally, because, they have their own issues and whatever, but they pretended to be our friends. They would come into our homes, and we had no idea that they were recording everything and looking for something wrong, and they couldn't find anything really. When they arrested my brother-in-law, the only charge they had on him was obstruction of justice, and we didn't even know what that was. And so my other brother-in-law, he's an inventor. He invented this machine that they use on solar fields, which increases efficiency by 400%. And he invented that. And so he had this multi-million-dollar
Wow.
business that they were, and I don't know if that was their reason, but anyway, all I know is they pretended to be our friends. And then when that happened, I was like, how do you know? How do you know if somebody's a friend or not? When you meet somebody, because they were so friendly, but it was just a deception. And there were several of our family who did have that feeling, just that gut feeling that said something's not quite right. And so we've learned to trust your instincts, trust that gut feeling, and also, we would be told that, I've been told by a lot of people, well, you're just brainwashed. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to get unbrainwashed if that's what I am? And so I did a ton of research, and the meaning of brainwash is to withhold information from someone. So I'm like, what is this information that's being withheld? And I would go digging, and I would, weigh it and do my own research. And I come to realize that the people that were trying to tell me that were trying to say, you're brainwashed, that's why you think what you do, were the people that were trying to get me to think what they wanted me to think. I was like, okay, I want to have my own conviction by what I feel is right, what I know is right, because I feel it is right, and then stand on it. And that's what I encourage other people to do, because I've watched them with these teenage girls that they came and took, and they interrogated them over and over and over. And they got so confused. These girls would be like, when I watched the interviews, one of the girls, she was like, well, I thought I was happy, but maybe I was just brainwashed. I'm like, you need to know. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you stand for. So that kind of got me to that point. And that's where, in that book of Florence Scovel Shinn, is where I got that quote: no man is your friend, no man is your enemy, all men are your teacher. And that also helped me to forgive, because I had this anger towards people who pretended to be our friend when they weren't. But we sure learned a lot from them. So kind of amazing. But that's how I got to this point that I'm right now. I'm working on a book. We also recently started a company called Positivity Labs, where we build t-shirts and different things with positive messages to just spread positivity.
Awesome, Galilee. You say, can you hear me? Can
Yes.
you hear me? Yeah, that must have been
Yes, I
very,
can.
very traumatic. Yeah, that must have been very, very tough and dark, you see. But what stood out is the fact that you are standing as a solution, trying to fill that gap, and the beautiful stuff that you're doing, it's amazing. So there's this part I'm curious about, okay? So, can you still hear me? Okay. So,
It cut out there.
Dakota, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay. So, what helped you begin to trust yourself again together?
Okay, so along the way, um, little things would happen that, you know, that helped me to realize that there was still, um, you know, something that would give me that strength. And, you know, one of the things that happened was, after my husband was arrested and we had some cars repoed, uh, all our banks were overdraft. We had bills that were past due, and the insurance on the one vehicle that I did have left came up. The due date was coming up, and I did not know what to do because I didn't have the money. Bank was overdraft. And so I was looking at my phone, looking at it, thinking, wondering how I was going to take care of this. And then I put it away, and I thought, and I remembered, like, I read also from this book called The Power by Rhonda Byrne. And she talks about, um, using affirmations and all those kinds of things like that. And just believing. So I put it away, and they talk about the law of non-resistance and things like that. And I didn't worry about it. I totally didn't worry about it till several weeks later. And then I opened it up to look at it, and it was paid. And I was like, where did that payment come from? My bank is overdraft. And also my cards are all maxed and they're past due. So I went and checked everywhere I could think of, every bank account, every card, and it didn't show where any payment had come out. Like, where did that payment come from? And then, they talk about the still small voice. We call it the Spirit of God in the FLDS. Some people call it intuition, but it's just that little gentle piece that says, what difference does it make? It doesn't matter. It's taken care of. Leave it to me. And as an
Mm,
FLDS member, then I believe it was God speaking to me. And
speaking to
so,
you.
you know, yeah, so I would have little things like that happen. So I knew that he was still there. I'm like, why would all these things happen though? Why would he allow all these bad things to happen? But at the same time, I can't blame him for what people do. He's not the one doing it. And and I've had people, well, he allowed it. No, we allowed it just as much as he did.
Mm,
So I just don't feel to blame God. But anyway, when I saw the interviews with the teenage girls, particularly one girl that was 12 years old at the time, her first interrogation that they did with her, then she was all smiles. Her eyes were sparkling. She was so happy and just answered their questions with innocence and purity. And then 6 months later, they did another interview, and I saw that one, and she was completely, like, it made me sick.
mm,
She was so dead in her spirits. and she could hardly even focus or remember what they were saying. And when I
Wow.
saw that, that's when I realized, I was like, I I want people to have that confidence that to carry them through anything, Like, I want to be able to trust my gut. I want to be able to trust what I believe and stand on it no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah. So,
Amazing. I tell you, that's so true. Okay, so let's get to know your approach and all. So how do you help others reclaim their voice and confidence?
so first, what brings you the greatest peace? Just, is it a person? Is it a thing? Whatever it is, even if it's just a belief, then hang on to that for dear life and don't let anybody change it. My husband, they said the most abominable things about him in court. They were lies. They would twist everything he said. And I had somebody sit in court one time and they were talking to my sister. And they're like, how can she still love him after hearing all that stuff? And so my sister was telling me that. And I'm like, I know him. I know him better than any other person on this planet. And so it doesn't matter what anybody says. I know him and I know what I felt. I know what I have felt about him, around him. I've asked God about him and I know what I felt then. And that's what I stand on. And that's what everyone should stand on. Whatever brings you the most peace, that is what you should trust in, you should stand on, you should believe. It'll give you a confidence like you wouldn't believe.
That's so true. And I got that. I got that. So finally, okay, what advice would you give to someone who's being accused of being brainwashed?
I would advise them to do their own research. If they're being told that they're brainwashed and they just believe that, that is what brainwash is. I would encourage them, you do your own research. Don't take what people are telling you. You go do your own research and turn to that intuition, that inner guide. Ask yourself, use common sense even. And if they're telling you things about somebody or telling you things about something, check it out for yourself and
Check it out for
trust
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Do your own research. I got that.
Yeah.
I got that. I got that. You see, you've just opened my eyes to a series of things I never knew about brainwashing, manipulation, and all of those things. And that's one of the benefit of, having great guests on like you. Thank you, Galilee. Just nah, that was a beautiful word. So to bring this to an end, okay, for folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful things you're doing, or ask you questions, or maybe open your services or your programs or your resources, how can that be possible?
They can. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, and that's just at Gal Best on both of those. Also Facebook. Um, I'm starting my own podcast. I just haven't yet, and so I will have like some official ways to reach out there. And I also have an email that's Galilee Bistline at gmail.com that anyone is welcome to reach out there as well. Ask me any questions. Ask me about the book I'm writing. I should be coming out with, and then
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Gary. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this powerful stuff with us. I tell you, it means a whole lot. Thank you.
thank you so much.